Hello, everyone. I'm TJ, and I am joined by the champion of Week 1 for Grandmasters Season 2 of 2020. It's the Muzz. Muzzy, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing all right. Fresh off a weekend win. It's been a while since one of those. I haven't had this feeling.
Yeah, you didn't perform exceptionally well in Season 1. You got placed in Division B. So what's it like starting off Grandmasters with the dub?
I have a lot less stress on me now, right? Like, I should be in good position for Division A. You don't have to... When you're in Division B, it's obviously very hard. You have to constantly be thinking about, your record, your opponents, what are the chances of relegation happening, because you don't want to be in that outcome at all. So, like, being able to... be in good spot for Division A, I'd say I'm feeling a lot better than I was last season at this point.
Especially knocking it out with Conquest, right? So that way, I can imagine there's even more stress going into the next 2 weeks with Last Hero Standing and then Specialist, just because it's probably formats that you don't think about as much on a day-to-day basis. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're formats that, we haven't had a DreamHack in a while, no offline events, so people aren't really prepared for those other sort of tournaments, that especially with new decks coming out too, there'll be a lot of inexperience, a lot of mistakes, as we saw this weekend too, by multiple people. It's just sort of, takes a while to get used to the new meta, get used to all the interactions. One thing that I still constantly mess up, because my brain is just automatic for Direwolf / Betrayal positioning. It takes me a while to play around Cleave now from Druid with the Lake Thresher.
Yeah, those I don't know. There's so many things that I never think about anymore. But Cleave from Lake Thresher is one of the big ones. It's hard to train yourself to not do things that you've been doing for years at this point. I did want to talk about your lineup from Week 1 a little bit. You brought Galakron Priest and Survival Druid, which were pretty standard as far as the field goes. Temple Mage and the Secret Rogue, people calling it Secret Rogue. It has secrets, it runs secrets, but it's kind of an interesting deck. That's the deck that I wanted to talk about the most, that Secret Rogue. What brought you to decide to bring that deck, and what do you think it was a good bring at the end of the day?
So, usually my prep for GM weeks, it's involved with other people. I tend to talk to a bunch of different people from separate regions, just to bounce ideas, get ideas, stuff that I think would be good, stuff that I'm underestimating, just to see where other people are at, see if I'm on the right track. And this week, I think it was pretty easy to tell that just Druid Priest were going to be the top, and then there were two other slots. I was sure on Tempo Mage quotes. I don't know what to call it. I kind of like calling it Cyclone Mage, because there's a lot of card generation in the deck, and you win through a variety of different ways usually in game plans. But that was pretty much my third. My stats with that deck, I just feel comfortable playing it. It's just done well for me. And then the final deck, it was the Rogue decision. I didn't play much Rogue prior to the day before submission, at least that list. I originally got the idea from Board Control. He was streaming it, and he did well with it. And I wanted to try out the deck, and it went well for me, and I liked the play style of the deck, and thought it was something I could pilot well. Thought it had a decent shot in the meta, and worked well this weekend.
Was there any other sort of close calls for that fourth deck? What were you deciding between?
I think early on, at some point, I was on Paladin, surprisingly.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
But that was just a day or two into the season. I tried out the pure Pally list that people are posting on Twitter, and I had good results with it. But after that, I just had other decks I wanted to try, so I didn't really put much work into Pally at all. And then talked with some other people, and they're like, don't break Pally. And I was like, okay, I trust you. And it turns out it was a good decision. Pally's win rate wasn't the hottest this weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty abysmal. But also, like, Warrior seemed to perform really well. Was Warrior on your mind at all as a bring?
It was, but again, it's another thing. We just have limited time until our submission this week. Like, it's with the new expansion coming out. You don't have time to have sure opinions on all the decks. You don't know, like, you don't have time to practice them. You don't have time to, gain edges in the matchups. So I think first week was a lot more about, just overall good consensus of decks and just what you're comfortable with. Because I think that the skill and people playing better this week, those people tended to perform better in the tournament. I think this meta is pretty good compared to the last one. I think there could be potentially a lot of viable lineups and archetypes. Really excited for this expansion.
Yeah, well, that turned out to be true because we had a huge mix of different decks in the top 4, at least in Americas and across other regions as well. So obviously your lineup choices worked out since you won, but I do want to talk about, like, at least from my perspective and a few people that I chatted with, it seemed like the overall level of play, not even just in Americas, but across all 3 regions, was low. It was pretty poor. Do you attribute that to unfamiliarity with the decks since they're new? The expansions came out a week ago. Do you attribute that to maybe like new season jitters or players like not once again used to playing in front of a camera for stakes?
Yeah, I think there were like quite a few factors that led to that. I think you mentioned a few of them, like new season, GM. Always, you're gonna, even if you think you don't feel like the pressure in the back of your mind, there'll be something there that that'll affect your play for sure. I mean, I know I've had it previous seasons, and every time it comes back around, like the start of the season, you want to have a good start, so you can feel more secure going through the rest of the season. Fortunately, I had a good start.
Yeah,
it's going well.
It is, and now, so this one, I don't know how controversial this one's going to be, but you have a week of Grandmasters under your belt. You played through the rounds of Swiss. There's 4 new Grandmasters for Americas: Rami Briarthorn, No Hands, and Killin' All Day, who's announced not long before the season started. Any thoughts on this class of new GMs?
I mean, most of them definitely deserve to be here. I think they've proven themselves in the Americas circuit, like compared to the other regions. I think Americas Grandmaster, like, positioning, like the standings have shown that in the region the GMs tend to still dominate the Masters Tour in terms of winnings. If I took a look at the standings, and after that it's just more about the up and comers in the region. If you do well, have consistent results, you'll get there. Like no Hands has showed, he's an excellent deck builder, has brought creativity to the game, and it's absolutely paid off for him in his tournament results and qualification for GM.
Yeah, he was one of many of new GMs across all the regions to make it into a top 8. So, and he does it with decks that he makes, which is sick. I like to call out there. I'm waiting for Killin' All Day to make a top 8.
I mean, Killin' will get there for sure. He's always been one of the better players in the region, I am.
Yeah, I agree. No bias whatsoever. One last thing that I wanted to talk about, something that I've really appreciated that you've done over the past 2 seasons, more so than you did in 2019, the Muzz pop-offs. I love your enthusiasm. Is that something that you're just like trying to, reinvigorate your passion for Hearthstone, or is it something like conscious, or are you just really excited lately to get those wins?
I think it's Sort of reinvigorating my passion. It definitely feels much better, to like when you do get that win and you get the release with the pop off. You just feel better about the game, better in the moment. You're more involved with it. Like in the past, where I just have no reactions, just nod when I get that win, that tournament W. Like it just, I don't know. It feels better to pop off, show more emotion, feel better involved in the game, better involved with the audience. They want to see the emotion for sure.
Yeah, well, as part of the audience, even though I'm a little more tied into it than a standard person watching, I appreciate it a lot. It gets me more hyped. It makes me want to see more Muzz, and of course more Muzz pop-offs. But that's all the questions I had for you, man. I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and have this interview.
Yeah, no problem. I'd be glad to do more in the future for sure. You can ask me any questions, whatever you have, whatever you're wondering about, I'd be glad to answer.
Thanks, man. Well, you have to win in order for me to interview.
I mean,
so,
if it continues going how it went the first week, there might be some more.
All right. More Muzz wins, more Muzz interviews. That's what happens. But thanks again, and thanks to everybody who tuned into this. And if you want to check out more information about Hearthstone Esports, Grandmasters, or Masters Tour alike, you can check everything out on playhearthstone.com/esports.